Hello, I'm Charlize and today I'm going to be doing a series review of the Chaos Walking Trilogy by Patrick Ness. So since you guys have heard me talk non-stop about Patrick Ness, I decided I should probably review something by him. So I am going to be reviewing the Chaos Walking Trilogy because on one of my videos I asked you guys, would you want a series review or do you want separate videos for each book, and everyone said they wanted a series review, so I'm doing a series review. If you guys would like to watch the review for the Ask and the Answer only or Monsters of Men only, I'll leave annotations down here so that you could skip to those two, and I'll just leave them down there. If you don't know anything about this trilogy, it is a young adult science fiction trilogy. And the first book is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. And the second book I don't have a physical copy of. It is The Ask and the Answer by Patrick Ness. And the third book is Monsters of Men by Patrick Ness. Can we just take a moment and just admire Patrick Ness's signature? Look at it. Patrick Ness's signature is in this book. Patrick Ness has touched this book. So along with the 3 books in the trilogy, there are 3 short stories. One is called The New World, I believe, and it comes before this one. Then there's one called The Wide Wide Sea, and it comes before The Ask and the Answer. And then the third and final short story is called Snowscape, and it comes after this book. And if you get these new editions of the books, they actually have the short stories in the back, but this one, they only have the one. So this one just has Snowscape. So I'm going to start off this review by talking about The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. You can stay if you haven't read any of these books, and I will warn you for any spoilers, even if you've only read the first book and not the other 2, or if you've read the first 2 books and not the last one. I'll tell you when to leave if you're one of those people. And this is going to be a really weird review because I don't really know how to put into words my thoughts on these books. So I'm going to start off by just explaining the premise behind this book. I'll read the back because I have no idea how to start, okay? So it says, Todd Hewitt is the last boy in Prenticetown. But Prenticetown isn't like other towns. Everyone can hear everyone else's thoughts in a constant, overwhelming, never-ending noise. There is no privacy. There are no secrets. Or are there? Just 1 month away from the birthday that will make him a man, Todd unexpectedly stumbles upon a spot of complete silence, which is impossible. Prenticetown has been lying to him, and now he's going to have to run. I think I can tell you quite a lot by just reading that. I'm gonna expand a bit on what's in there so that I know I'm not spoiling anything and no one can get angry at me. Okay, so Prenticetown, the book is set not on this planet. It is set on New World. So Old World obviously has been destroyed or something. And I wrote an essay on the second book in this series. I wrote an essay on the Ask and the Answer. Okay, and part of my essay said, New World suggests that the old world has been damaged beyond repair. So, okay, that's okay. The story follows a boy called Todd Hewitt, and he lives in a town called Prenticetown, and he is 12 years old. When you turn 13 in this town, you become a man. And another weird thing is they have 13 months in a year, and also they have 2 moons. So that's something, you know. Todd is the last boy left in Prenticetown. Everyone else is either 13 or above and are considered men. And something happens when you become a man that Todd does not know. And there is a germ called noise in this town, and it is basically everyone in the town can hear everyone else's thoughts. So to help explain the noise, I'm going to read a part of the book. This is not a spoiler, by the way. It's not, okay. Here's what it's like. Here's what every minute of every day of my stupid stinking life in this stupid stinking town is like. Never mind plugging your ears. It don't help at all. Then it just has this. So this is basically noise. And it goes on to here. And it's just completely random. And there's you even up there. And then there's just a point on a circle, on a point on a circle, apples, a disease. You boy, you there. It's just completely random. That aspect of the book is really, really interesting, and it comes into the story a lot, especially in the other two books. So there are no women in this town. Todd is told that there are no women in the world at all. So basically Todd's about to become a man in a month, and he goes into the swamp with his dog Manchi, and by the way, his dog Manchi, he talks, and it's not noise, it's like his dog actually talks, and he really doesn't like his dog in the beginning of the novel. And so him and his dog go into the swamp, and they stumble upon a spot of complete silence, which is exactly what it says in the blurb. They find a spot of silence, and that is like unheard of in this world because of the noise. There is always, always, always noise, and he finds a spot of silence. And that's basically where the plot takes off, and he goes back to the town, and then he basically has to run. So this whole book is him running and learning about the secrets that have been kept from him, and learning about what happens when he becomes a man. So that is all that I'm going to say for the people who have not read any of Patrick Ness's Chaos Walking books. So if you have not read Knife of No Letting Go, I would leave now. I highly, highly recommend you read it. I have not heard one person ever not like it, and I've gotten a lot of people to read it, and no one has said anything bad about it. It is an excellent book. You will not be disappointed. So go read it and come back and you can discuss with us. So bye bye for now, non-spoilery people. Bye! So all of you have read the first book. Good, okay. First thing, Patrick Ness always does this to me. It's like it's like a sick twist on dramatic irony where the character knows what's happening but the reader doesn't. Normally it's the reader knows something that the character doesn't, and you're sitting there screaming at the character. This time you're sitting there screaming at the author because the character knows something and the character won't friggin' tell you. So this is basically what happens with the thing that's being kept from him, like the thing about what happens when you become a man. And I think it shows up in Aaron's noise. It shows up in Aaron's noise, and then Todd's like, oh, dash, no, dash, oh my dash. Has anyone noticed that? He does a lot of dashes and it works really, really well. So yeah, that is a really good part of the novel because it keeps you like into the book, and you're like, you really want to know what happens when they become a man, and then you finally find out that they have to kill another man, I think, to actually become a man. And that's basically what this whole story is about, I think, is that Todd he can't kill, and he sees it as a bad thing because he's been led to believe that it's a bad thing. And I think May Apprentice needs Todd to kill a man so that he can become part of his little army. We basically see this through Viola, and yeah, Viola is that little spot of silence, and Viola is an amazing character. The characters in this book are so distinctive, and there's no characters that are similar. They're all completely different, and that's one thing that I really like about all of Patrick Ness's books. So when Todd kills the spackle, and Viola's like, no, don't do it, and then because Viola knows that by him killing another man, or even a spackle, that's May Apprentice winning, and that's Aaron winning. And Aaron is like, he's trying to make Todd kill him, and you don't know why, because Viola doesn't say it until like the end, I don't think. I don't know. This book is really hard to talk about, okay, because it's so complex, and I'm sorry if this is really like confusing. So I have the page where he actually kills the spackle. The way that Patrick Ness describes this, it is so different from all the other YA books that I've read, because young adult books, they tend to, it's not real. This is not, like, Patrick Ness, the way he describes it is like how it would actually happen. That's what I think. Like, let me see. So here's what I was talking about with the dashes. He's like, and the brackets, he uses brackets a lot. And bracket, no, bracket. I see the fear that was coming from his noise, and then more brackets, no, please no. And there's nothing left for me to throw up because I heave, and there's nothing left for me to throw up, but I heave anyway. See, young adult books, they kind of skirt over all the graphic details like throwing up because no one wants to hear about that, but it makes it so much more real. And then there's, and I'm a killer, oh no, oh please no, I'm a killer. I start to shake so bad I can't stand up. I find I'm saying no over and over again, and the fear in his noise keeps echoing around mine, and there's nowhere to run from it. It's just there and there and there, and I'm shaking so bad I can't even stay on my hands and knees, and I fall into the mud, and I can still see the blood everywhere, and the rain's not washing it off. So there's a lot of ands, this listing of all the things, and like this makes it like, again, it makes it so much more real, because it's like he can't think straight. You're basically in Todd's head. He's just thinking everything and not filtering anything out. And that comes to another quote from the book. I think it's from this book. It's not a spoiler if it's not from this book, but it's here. Noise is a man unfiltered, and without a filter, a man is just chaos walking. So Todd basically has no filter, and that's what you're seeing here. It's just his thoughts, just not non-stop thoughts. And this comes into Todd's character development a lot, how this whole spackle business, because he's like, I squeeze my eyes shut tight and there's only blackness and nothing. One more time, I've ruined everything. One more time, I've done everything wrong. So he feels like he's doing everything wrong. First he feels like he's wrong because he can't kill, and then he thinks he's wrong because he's killed a spackle. Because he thinks that the spackle are the ones that killed all the women. Okay, I have found the bit where the spackle actually dies. So I twist my arm around and use my free one to push her away, and when I turn, the spackle skidded along the ground, heading for his spear, has his fingers on the end, and all my hate erupts into me like a volcano at full bright red, and I fall onto him, and I punch the knife into his chest. It crunches as it goes in, turning to the side as it hits a bone, and the spackle screams the most terrible, terrible sound, and dark red blood, red, it's red. They bleed red, sprays out of the wound, and he brings a long arm up and scratches a lot across my face, and I pull back my arm and slap him again, and a long screeching breath comes out of his mouth with a loud gurgle, and his arms and legs still scramble around. And he looks at me with his black eyes, and his noise filled with pain and bafflement and fear, and I twist the knife, and he won't die, and he won't die, and he won't die, and in a moan and a shudder he dies, and his noise stops altogether. I gag in my throat, and I yank out the knife and paddle my way back along the mud. That part of the book, I think I cried both times that I read it, because I've read The Knife of Never Letting Go, I've read it twice. So that part of the book is obviously, it's going to have an impact on the reader, and just, it is amazing. Another thing that makes this book seem more real is the ending. It ends on a cliffhanger. So the ending, did you guys think that they were going to reach the town first, that they were going to reach Haven first? I think that's the town's name. Because, like, in a lot of books, like, I'm not saying all, okay, I'm not saying that at all, but a lot of books, they kind of end how you expect them to end. This is not an expected ending. He gets there, and May Apprentice is there, and the last sentence is, "Welcome to New Prentice Town." I believe that's the last sentence. Oh, here we go. "Welcome," says the mayor, "to New Prentice Town." So that's like a cliffhanger. You're like, what the hell is New Prentice Town? And you're like, whoa, they didn't get there first, what's going to happen now, oh my gosh. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is two deaths. Manchi and Aaron. So, I cry at Manchi both times I read. Manchi is, you just feel so bad, because Todd goes from absolutely hating him and being like, why did you get me a dog? Why do dogs talk? Like, they ain't got nothing good to say except poo Todd poo. And need poo Todd. And need poo Manchi. Like, I have it on here. It says it here. You can't read it, but it says it here. Poo Todd poo. And Manchi, and he chooses Viola over Todd. No, he chooses Viola over Manchi. And, like, it's understandable that he chose Viola, but Manchi, like, Manchi, and, like, he goes from hating him, and then he really likes him because I'm pretty sure Manchi saves him one time or something, but yeah, we all know Manchi's death was, like, the saddest part of the whole book. And then Aaron's death, another thing that was really well described, and how Viola killed Aaron so that May Apprentice wouldn't win, because if Todd had killed him like he wanted to, then May Apprentice would have won. So Viola killed Aaron, and that way Todd still hasn't killed, and that just made me love Viola so much more. And that is all I have for The Knife of Never Letting Go. Sorry about that. That was just my thoughts, and I'm really bad at reviews and discussions because, like, I can't, especially Patrick Ness, like, I can't even express my love. I can't express it, and I don't. Everything's all out of order. Like, just it doesn't matter. But you can still keep watching if you haven't read the Ask and the Answer, but if you're still here and you haven't read this, then I don't know what you're doing, but, like, don't just go just to sleep. But you can still keep watching if you have not read the Ask and the Answer, as long as you have read this. So the Ask and the Answer opens up basically straight where The Knife of Never Letting Go let off. It's not quite exactly where it left off because they've taken Viola from him. He's in a room with just the mayor and I think like 2 other people or something, but he's just in a room tied up to a chair, and that's basically where it opens up, and they are like torturing him. And so this whole book is set in New Prentice Town, which is where Haven was meant to be, but the mayor from Prentice Town made it to Haven before Todd and Viola, so he's taken over, and this book is basically about tyranny, I'm pretty sure. Patrick Ness actually described this. The first book is about the first book is about flight, like running away. Second book is about tyranny, and the third book is about war. So this one is about the tyranny of May Apprentice. And the interesting thing about this book is that it is told from 2 perspectives, Todd and Viola, and this was done extremely well. In a lot of books, sometimes you can't tell the difference between the 2 narrative voices, but in this one, they were definitely different. Viola didn't seem any different than she did in the first book. She was still the same person. Obviously, there's character development and all that, but she doesn't seem like a completely different character just because we're seeing it from her perspective. And I really, really think that it was a good thing to do because throughout the entire book, also, Viola and Todd are apart from each other. They're not together at all. They are apart from each other because they are on 2 different sides, and that comes into the title, which is the Ask and the Answer. You figure that out later on in the book. I'm not going to spoil that. Basically, what comes into this is May Apprentice and Todd, as, like, them 2 are together, like, those 2's interaction together, and the Spackle, and there's a lot of new characters introduced as well. The women come into it a lot. So May Apprentice and Todd together, the women, and the Spackle. That's basically the premise of this book. That's all I'm going to say. If you have not read The Ask and the Answer, you need to leave now, go read it, and you can come back. I really suggest reading it if you've read the first book. It is just as good, if not better, than the first book. If you want me to say which one's my favourite, that's really hard, okay? I think I'm going to say my favourite would be a tie between the first and the third book, but this, like, I love them almost equally. The second book is just, like, obviously it's not going to be quite as good because the first book is like you're introduced to this whole new concept, you're excited about it. Second book is like extension of that concept, and then the third book is like the wrapping it up. So yeah, the first and the third book are probably my favourite, but the second book is amazing. You need to read it, and like so much stuff happens, like you just find out so much. So bye bye if you haven't read The Ask and the Answer. Bye! All of you have now read The Ask and the Answer. That is good, you can stay. And yes, I don't have a whole lot to say about this book because this is the one that I don't, like, the last 2 books, they're not like as clear in my mind as the first book because I've read the first book twice. But I just remember the Spackle and the women in this one, and whoa. Okay, we're gonna talk about the bands, the metal bands. That, see, again, with the whole, like, descriptions of things being realistic, making it feel so much more real. The bands, this is also the book that I wrote an essay on. Okay, let me just think what I wrote in the essay. So what did you guys think about 1017 at first? That Spackle, the one that is like different from all the others. I don't know, it's weird. It's like, Todd describes it as like it makes clicking noises as if it's like swearing at him, and I don't know, I didn't know what the hell was going on with him. Like, I didn't know anything. And then, you know what I thought? I thought it was like maybe the mum of the one that he killed or something, or like, I don't know, but what did you guys think 1017 was? Like, I remember this number, okay? He comes into it a lot in the third book, by the way, so he's important. I won't tell you how, but 1017. What do you guys think of him? I think he was very sassy. I like him a lot. He was cool. And he was so sad as well, like, how they have the cure for the noise and how he stops eating so that he doesn't get any of the cure, and he gets really, really skinny, and he hasn't eaten in ages just so that he can show Todd what's in his noise, like, as if he's, like, rising against Todd, but I want to say something that I'm pretty sure was in, okay, this is the problem, I don't know parts of it, I'm not sure if it was in Asking the Answer or Monsters of Men, so I'm just not going to say anything, but yes, what about Davy putting the band around the neck? That was really mean. That was so mean. Oh, what did you guys think about Davy in this book? I liked him a lot better than what I did in the first book, because in this book, because Todd spent so much time with him, you can see that the reason Davy is so mean and horrible is because he's trying to impress his dad, and his dad's never impressed with him, and especially in this book, you can see that, like, the mayor would rather have Todd as a son, and I felt really bad for Davy, and I think that's what Patrick Ness was trying to do. You're conflicted about whether you should feel bad for him or not, because he's been so horrible, especially in the first book, and is such a horrible person, and he puts the band around the neck, but then at the same time, he's just trying to please his dad, and he just wants his dad's approval. That's all he wants. And then there was also the whole mind control thing with the mayor, which I really, really liked. That was, like, you didn't expect that. In the first book, in that little page that has all the noise, like just in the very first bit where it shows all the noise, it has I am the circle and the circle is me, and the mayor keeps saying it as Todd walks past his house way back, and then it comes into this book and you're like, whoa, I didn't think that would come into this, and it really does. And it's like, it's so cool, like, how he can drown out his own noise just by I don't understand how he does it. I don't remember, but it is really cool, and he's trying to get Todd to do it, and you can tell there's something wrong with this. Like, everything that the mayor's doing, it's right, and it seems right, and he seems to not be doing anything wrong, but you feel like there's something weird about it, and am I the only one that felt like there was something weird going on there? Like, how he was trying to get Todd to do it, and then he was, like, pleased with Todd when he did it, but then it felt like there was something wrong, and then it turns out there was something wrong. You can see the two different sides of the ask and then the answer. I can't remember which side was which. I'm pretty sure the ask was the side Todd was on and Viola was in the answer. Yeah, that's what it was. But I don't know, like, what the hell is the ask and the answer? And yeah, then you find out and you're like, that is, good job, Patrick Ness, good job. But just the banding of the women, that whoa. I can't say anything about that either, because there's this one bit, and I'm not sure if it was in Monsters of Men or in this one, but the banding of the women, that was bad. And then there was Anagard. I'm not sure how to say the name, but the horse that Todd gets. Like, Anagard, is that how you guys say? I don't know how the hell to pronounce that, but it's like, do you really think that you can replace Manchi? You can't replace Manchi, Anagard. No matter how much you say, oh geez, I don't remember what she says. I think it's the mayor's horse that says submit, and then, what was it? Boy Colt. Do you really think your Boy Colt outdoes Manchi's Poo Todd Poo? Really? Anagard? step aside, okay? No! Like, I had a feeling there'd be another animal involved because Manchi was gone. And then there was. And it wasn't as good as Manchi because Manchi was amazing. But Anagard was still pretty cute and stuff, you know. Especially in the third book, which I can't talk about right now. I'm really bad at reviews, guys. I'm sorry. I sincerely apologise. All of my apologies. There you go. Those are all of them. Yeah, I just gave you all of the apologies. So all there really is left to talk about that I can think of right now is the ending was not as much of a cliffhanger as the first book, which, I don't know. I like the ending of the first book a little better, I guess, but it didn't leave a clear impression. I don't quite remember what it was. I just remember that the last words were the same words that were in the beginning of the next book, which is, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna check. Ah, here we go. War, says May Apprentice, his eyes glinting at last. So, the thing that's cool is that this book ends with the mayor saying something, so does the second book. Whoa! But not the third book, so it's not that significant. But that is all I'm going to say about the Ask and the Answer. So now I'm going to move on to Monsters of Men. And you can still stay if you haven't read this. I'm not going to talk like a lot at all. All that I'm going to say is that Todd and Viola are together more in this book. And this book involves 1017 a lot, which is, I think I mentioned that before. Find out more about the mind control thing. Todd finds out more about his own mind control powers. And there's war. And there's a new character introduced, a new perspective. Oh, that is a really big part actually. Okay, so this is told from Todd, Viola, and another perspective, which I'm not going to tell you because they don't actually tell you what it is at first. I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually come into it, like at the very start. It doesn't come into it. And I'm not sure when it does come into it, but it doesn't come into it at the very start. And I think the perspective changes a bit more often in this one, especially towards the end. There's a lot of perspective changing, and the perspective that is introduced is really, really different in the way that it's written. It's sort of written in like an ancient type of voice. Like, this is Patrick Ness, you are such a genius. Like, he does it really well, guys, okay? So I'm not going to say what this perspective is because you don't find out until a bit later. But that is all I'm going to say if you have not read Monsters of Men. It is an amazing ending to the trilogy. It's not completely satisfying, the ending. It just depends on how you feel. But even if you're not satisfied with the ending, the short story after it does satisfy you. If you're one of the people that's like, that's the stupidest ending ever, then you can read the short story and then it won't be a stupid ending. So that is all for the people who have not read Monsters of Men. Please go read it. If you've read the other two books and not this one, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just go read it, okay? So bye-bye. Bye! Read it. Now, all of you have read this monster of a book. Now we can talk about it. Basically, only going to talk about the ending, but you know, I'm going to refrain from it for now. Okay? I'm going to refrain from it because I am a strong woman. So I really like how this includes a map, and the map, when I looked at it, I didn't look at it until I had finished the Ask and the Answer. And it is exactly how I pictured it, like where everything is, that's exactly how I pictured it. And I'm one of those people that's kind of stupid and like skims over the descriptions of things because it gets really boring, but it never gets boring in these books. So I don't skim over them. I actually read them, I think, like without even realizing that I'm not skimming them. And then it stays. And if you guys haven't seen it, for some reason, it's here. So, yeah, the falls are there. It's kind of, I think this was a bit different. I didn't think this was like a valley. This is like a valley. I don't think I knew that there was a valley. But other than that, I'm pretty sure I knew a lot. I really like the opening quote, especially like how it's written. And it is a quote from a song, I believe, by Radiohead. And it goes, "Who's in the bunker? Who's in the bunker? Women and children first, and the children first, and the children. I laugh until my head comes off. I swallow till I burst." This quote reminds me a lot about how Patrick writes. How he sometimes writes a full sentence, then a simpler version of the sentence, then just one word from the sentence. And that's kind of what this does. It's like, and it's, he does a lot of repetitive, like repeating phrases. So it says, "Who's in the bunker?" twice, "Who's in the bunker? Who's in the bunker?" And then here is what I meant about how he puts the full sentence, then a simpler version of the sentence, and then just an even simpler version. "Women and children first, and the children first, and the children." So that just reminds me a lot about how Patrick Ness writes, and I can see why he used that quote. It's kind of like, I haven't thought about how that quote relates to the story as much. I just saw it as a way of relating to his writing style. That's probably not what he intended to do, but that's what I saw. I'm pretty sure that the third perspective that's introduced, you don't know what it is at first. Am I the only one that did not know what it actually was at first? And then you find out it's the sky, or maybe they did say that it's the sky, but you don't know what the hell the sky is. Like, what's the sky? That was so cool. Like, Knife of Never Letting Go starts off so simple, like, not even simple, it's still a complex world, really complex idea with the noise and the spackle and the women and just the becoming a man. That's all really complex. And then it becomes even more complex with the sky thing, and how it's like, I think it's like a really big version of a spackle, and it rides on that weird animal thing. And I just pictured this animal as like an armadillo. I don't know why. Like a really big armadillo. And I don't remember exactly what they're meant to look like, but aren't they meant to have like a flat back and they like stand on them? They don't sit on them, they actually stand on them. I don't know, but wasn't it like, like how 1017, how Todd let him go, he saved him and then he let him run away because he was the only one left from when all the other spackle was shot, I think, in the Ask and the Answer, which is something I forgot to talk about, but yeah, that happened. And how he runs away and then he goes to the sky and the land, all these, the sky, the land, this all seems really tribal, and like the culture of the spackle like surprised me. Like, it actually surprised me how they call themselves the land, and it's like they see themselves as one, and then they call 1017 the return, and that was so cool. That was so cool. And 1017 feels like he's not part of them because they call him the return, and then they see themselves as one thing called the land. And then I don't remember what they call noise. That's how they communicate, but I don't remember exactly what they call it. But it's like what ties them together. Ben? Ben is a character, right? Ben? Yes, Ben, I was right. You doubted me. I know you doubted me. Okay, Ben! He's alive! What? Ben is alive, guys. I was so happy. Like, I think I like put the book down and started just laughing hysterically. I was like, Ben's alive! And I don't exactly remember what they said, because I'm pretty sure the first time we learn about Ben is like through the sky's perspective, and you might not have known that it was actually Ben because they don't know his name. But I thought, it's so cool. I can't explain this properly. How they bring him back to life, like, the sky is like, can someone explain to me what the hell I'm trying to say here, because I don't know what I'm trying to say. But the same thing happens to Todd in the ending. Okay, we're gonna bring up the ending now. The ending, how he's like still alive but unconscious, and it's the sky that's, isn't it the sky that's like trying to bring him back to life, but he's in that coma kind of state, and it's the same as what Ben was. And then Ben wakes up, and Ben is sort of like the land, like he's kind of like the spackle in how his mind works and how his noise works, and just because of how they brought him back to life. And I thought that was really interesting, and I really need to reread the second and the third book because it's so complex, and you cannot read these books in like a day, okay? You have to take your time with them. I think I did take a lot of time, especially with the third book. So how did you guys feel about that ending? Did you guys like the ending? I really did. I didn't expect it at all. You don't expect your protagonist to die. Okay, you guys, you know that one book that everyone's saying, oh, she's so brave, the first one to ever kill off the main character. You know that book? Was she really the first? Was she the first? Patrick Ness was first. Patrick Ness killed Todd, okay? Even if you don't know if he's actually dead or not, that is a way better ending than that book. I'm not going to say the name in case you haven't read it, but like, it was so good. So it's not like he just killed him for no reason, and it's not like it wasn't justified, and it's not like it wasn't like it's not unoriginal. It's the most original death I've ever seen. He's not even dead. You don't know if he's dead or not. You have no clue. You have no clue. Okay? If you guys didn't like the ending of this, then I suggest reading Snowscape. If you guys really, 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 really like the ending, maybe don't read it. Snowscape is quite interesting. It's not that much to do with the plot of any of the books, but the last bit is. So, like, I can't think of anything specifically anymore because there's just too much, but this whole book was just so good. So good. Even when there wasn't something happening, you know something was about to happen because the whole thing, they were planning a war, and like, you're always on edge about, are the Spackle gonna attack? Can you guys tell me, are my reviews okay? How can I improve on my reviews? Because like, I've tried planning things out, but then I end up jump cutting a lot in my editing, and I don't like that. I like kind of just improvising and saying my thoughts, even though I like lose my breath when I'm like, oh my god, all this, Patrick now, oh my god. But what do you guys think? How can I improve on my reviews? Because I don't think they're very good at all. I hope you enjoyed my review of the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. And have a discussion in the comments. Do it, please. I really want to discuss with people. This is basically why I'm making this video, is because I want to find other people that love these books as much as I do and like talk to them about it. Like, people are sometimes like surprised that I reply to their messages or their comments. You can message me as well, by the way. And I don't understand that, because one of the main reasons why I make videos is because I want to talk about books, not just to the camera, but to actual people. Like, I want to talk to people that have read these books. So please message me or comment. Either way, if it's a really long thing that you want to say, you can message me and I don't mind. It's really, like, I get really excited when I get messages, okay? So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye! Hello! Day of my stupid stink. Really? I'll just wait then.